to Fiddle Up. I'm Emerald Ray, and today we're going to be working on this monster tune, Madame Neruda, another monster tune. This is the monster of monsters. I think this is the one that everybody's terrified of. This is a Scottish tune, and it's from the early 20th century, and it was written by an Italian composer named Parazzotti, actually. It's not technically a Scottish tune. But it was played by James Scott Skinner, who was a friend of Parazzotti, and it was written by another classical violinist named Madame Neruda. And so these were all friends, back in the day, fellow violinists, and James Scott Skinner called himself the Scottish violinist. So back in the day, they were kind of going for this more kind of elite classical kind of sound. So this tune is a very quintessential sort of that style, of that like very aristocratic, very classical sound. And this is such a great tune to learn, and if you can't get this tune in one sitting, don't feel bad. It took me months to get this tune down. I'm not even kidding. And it sort of took years to lead up to those months of solid practice where I got this tune down. So I just wanted to add this tune in because I feel like this is something that you're not gonna ever find in a fiddle tutorial ever. This is one of those tunes that's so hard most people can't play it. So I wanted to add this into the advanced course just so it was somewhere for anybody who wanted to dig into this tune. And so we're gonna go over it slowly. We're gonna go through all of those chords. It's not, when you break it all down, it is manageable to do. And, once you get a handle on the bowing and all of the different chords, there's no shifting, there's nothing too crazy. I mean, it is in E flat, and if that's tricky for you for a start, then that's gonna be one element of trickery. And then all of these chords are gonna be really great, it's a really great finger stretcher. It's one of those tunes that's like really brilliant if you have to warm up for a gig really fast. You can just kind of, go over all these chords. And because E flat is such a good finger, so you have to stretch out your fingers to play it. I love flat keys for warming up because it just gets your blood flowing really, really quickly. So, starting off with this tune, it goes right into the chords. So we're gonna start off on an E flat on your D string. So that's the first phrase there. So let's get right into it. So we're starting off on your E flat and then down to the G. We'll stop there for now. So. And then from there, you just do a little scale all the way down from the E flat. So that's just on your A string and D string, just 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. So starting from the beginning again. And I kind of like it to add in a little slur there. Gives a little bit of a hornpipey feel because it is a hornpipe. I like to play it as a reel sometimes too. I'll talk about that at the end, but that's for later, so don't worry about that. So let's start again. And now we go into these crazy chords. So this is one of those things where I have this on automatic pilot when I'm playing, and it's way better that way. So forgive me if it takes me a minute to think through what I'm actually doing. I know that sounds ridiculous, but this is kind of how it goes with this tune. So we have the first chord. So that is open G, E flat, B flat. So that is a G flat, an E flat chord. Try to say the right chords. That's an E flat chord there. And so let's just use that chord to go over the bowing, because the bowing is going to be the G string, the D string, sorry, down, down, down. So that's going to be our bowing pattern for all of these chords. So that's down, 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 up, 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 down, 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 up, up, up. And then, this is hard to do slow. So that is an A flat, E flat, C. So that's an A flat chord there. That's the second chord. And then we're going to slide the first finger up to an A. So now we have an A, an F, and a C. So that's an F chord. And then the last chord is a B flat. Is it? Yeah. So B flat, F, and then D. So that's a B flat chord. Ooh, okay. So I think that's all the chords for this first part, I hope. So let's try that again from the beginning. So we're starting off. So if you think about the bass line here, that's really going to help anchor you into some sense of reality here. So it's going to be open G, A flat, A natural, and then B flat. So the chords go E flat, starting on a G, and then A flat chord, and then slide up. So you're going to slide your first finger up to the regular first finger position, and then put your second finger over the F and C. And then put your second finger over the bottom two string. So I'm actually gonna move myself up here a little bit so you can see my fingers a little bit more. Sorry if I'm going the opposite way. Trying to see what's going on here. So let me make sure you got a good view of my fingers. So I'm gonna go G. So see how I have my first finger over the middle two strings, the D and the A string? And then A flat, so I'm gonna slide my first finger over, put my second finger down. Sorry. This is so much harder to play it at this speed, I swear. And then you have slide your first finger up to the first finger regular position, so you have an A natural, and then put my second finger down here. And then the B flat, put the B flat down and stretch my third finger up here. So the whole sequence goes. So if that takes you months to practice, it's totally fine. That is a lot. So spend some time with that, and you don't have to do the bow. If the bowing, because the bowing is like a whole extra amount of complication. So if you want to just put your fiddle down and work on the chords here. Ooh. So do E flat, A flat, and then F, and then B flat. So however you get that into your system is totally fine. If you want to work on the left hand for a while and then work on just the bowing for a while, then you can eventually stitch those two things together. But for now, we'll try it all together, just really slow a bunch of times. So here we go. And G, starting on the open G. So let's try that again. And if that's feeling easy for you, we can go into doing it just a little bit faster. So So starting from the beginning of the tune now, we're going to start from the top of the A part. See, it's tough for me too if you're struggling with this. This is not easy to do at this speed. So let's try to get this into a better tempo this time. I feel like my feel was a little bit off there. So that is the whole A part right there. So let's start that again from the very beginning and go over all the parts. So we have the beginning phrase. And then that beginning phrase again. And then we have just a couple of the chords here. We have the E flat, A flat, and then we're gonna go to a B, and I like to hit the open D as well. Is actually the melody. So we're gonna go B flat, E, D, E flat, but I like to add the chords in as well, so I go B flat and D. And then I add a little tritone here with the A flat and open D. And then open G with the E flat. So I get that nice bass line on the bottom, which is kind of fun. Okay, so let's try the E flat and A flat chords with that ending. Okay, so let's try the whole thing, shall we? Oh my goodness. So starting from the top. So there we go, that's the A part, and I wouldn't normally do this, but I'm gonna say if you wanna shake out your left hand at this point, that would be totally reasonable. I might go ahead and do it right now anyway, just because I can feel a little something, and I wanna make sure I'm fresh for this B part. So yeah, sometimes your hand just needs a shake, and oh, it feels so good. It feels like a massage to just let everything go, and let your elbow and your wrist go as well, and just yeah, give it a minute to let the blood flow come back in, where maybe there's been some tension, because keys like this, I mean, it's just inevitable that you're gonna have some tension, even if, like me, you've done this a lot. It's a real finger stretcher. So the good thing about that is it's like lifting weights, you know. It's using your muscles in a different way than you normally would for the normal keys that we play in fiddle, you know, when it's D and everything like sits nicely in your hand and you can just work on just rely on your fast twitch muscles. But when you have a flat key like this is why people don't like to play flat keys in fiddle, because it's actual work, you know, it actually requires some muscle. So let's move on to this, this B part here, which is pretty much all chords the whole way through, if I'm remembering correctly. So we're gonna start on the top 3 strings this time. And we're gonna start with E flat, B flat, and G. So this is an E flat chord. So that's our starting chord right there. So we'll just do one of those. And then the next one is going down to an open D. So that is, I might scooch up just a little bit so you can see my fingers better here. So let's try that again. So we're gonna do an E flat chord. So I have E flat, B flat, and then G. And then we have open D, you can see that there, open D. And the first finger over the A and the E string. So we have B flat and F. So we have E flat chord. And then B flat chord. And then we're gonna reach all the way down to the G string. So this is a C. So that's C, G, and E flat. So that's what, a C minor chord. And then coming down to the, so that's a B flat, F, and G. And I'm gonna keep going through the sequence here. I'm gonna go do this again, but I just want you to have the scope of where we're going here. Then we're going to an A flat chord, and then E flat. And then we're going back up to that F, and then to the B flat again. So if you see, it starts at the top and then goes down and then scoops up through those chords in a slightly different order, but it's all the bottom chords are chords that we've done before. So we're gonna start again from the top, the E flat, B, and G, and then B flat starting on the D. Reach down to the C minor there. And if you're struggling with that, I am too, it's all good. And then we have B flat here. And then down to the A flat, E flat. And then up to the F, starting on the A on the bottom. And then back to B flat again. So again, if the bowing is too tough and you want to work on these fingers separately, that's completely fine at this point. That's completely understandable. This is a tough sequence. So any way that you can separate this out, separate the bowing and the fingers, if you want to just... something like that. That's completely fine too. So let's start again from the top. We have E flat, B flat, C minor, B flat, A flat, E flat, F, and B flat. So that is the first half of the B part here, and luckily for you, you know what the rest is. So you've technically, at this point, I just want to congratulate you. You've learned the whole B part by now, just to make you feel a little bit better, because this is some crazy stuff here. So let's try that again. B flat, C minor, B flat, A flat, E flat, and F, B flat, and then E flat, B flat, C minor, B flat, A flat, B flat. Remember that? So That's the whole B part. We have done the thing. So congratulations. Let's try that all again a little bit slower. Let's see if I can do it. It's so hard at this slow pace. I know I keep saying this over and over again and you might not believe me, but all this stuff is easier to do faster than it is to do slower. I swear, and it's hard to contemplate that until you get up to that speed, and then you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much easier. But it's the same with dancing and singing as well. It's really hard to slow things down, which is why it's good to slow things down. It's really to challenge yourself to play things slow. Like, I'm gonna be playing this tune 10 times better tomorrow, just having sat down and done this tutorial here. This is helping me as well. You know, when I was teaching a lot of beginner student lessons and just sitting there for hours playing slow bows with my students, I did notice that my intonation was better and my control was better and all that kind of thing. So I'm a big believer in playing everything slow all the time if you can. So let's try again from the beginning. Let's start on with the E flat, and I'll try to go as slow as I can. So there's that. So let's try this again a little bit quicker, and we'll try to do this whole B part twice through. Not like this. Okay. So I just wanted to remind myself for a hot second that we were doing this part twice before I went ahead and did it. It's hard to remember, so I'm gonna step back just a tiny bit here. So let's try this again. So we're gonna do the B part twice through here. Let's start that again because I'm sounding terrible. There we go. It's not perfect, but it's the best we could all do today. So again, this takes a really long time. It's a tricky tune. It's tricky for me just sitting here playing it. I usually try to play everything as perfect as I can while adding some humanness to this videos, because I don't want you guys to think that I'm perfect. None of us are perfect, and I don't think the lesson space is like, you know, if I did a more edited, curated video, you wouldn't get to see me playing all these bum notes, and you'd be feeling like, pro level people never make any mistakes, which is totally untrue. We all mess things up all the time. So, and that's where you learn things, playing all these notes is like how you get better and how you improve. And yeah, we're all working on something. So at that speed, let's play the whole tune now. So we're starting from the A part. And then the B part is. Okay. What tempo shall we do? Okay. One, D, 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 da, D, da, da. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. again. 1, 2, 3. We did it. Oh my word. That is a tough tune, and it's a tough tune to play for how long have we got? Half an hour straight. This is not what I would recommend you do, actually, for a tune like this. I would recommend taking it in shorter bursts. So if you want to take this video in smaller chunks next time, because you might have to go through it multiple times, and that's totally fine. Like I say, it took, once I decided to get this tune down, because I had been kind of picking away at it for a lot of years and I just couldn't get it, and I had to just decide I was going to get this tune down, and it did take a couple of months. And one of the things that tripped me up for a long time was the bowing. So we've been doing this slow, very classical sounding bowing the whole time. But when you get up to a faster speed, you actually need to have a slightly different feel on the bowing, which is totally fine. It's good to learn both of these bowing things. But just so you know, that's mostly feeling awkward because you're trying to play the individual notes. But when you play this tune fast, it's going to sound like something like that. My fingers are tired, so I'm not going to make it through a good round of this tune now, I think, at this point. But we'll see how it goes. But so what you're going for is just with open string. That's a very different feel than, which takes a lot of efforting. So once I figured out that I could loosen up and do that and just kind of hit some of the chords, and it was going to sound a little bit messier, and that was going to be okay, it would all kind of iron out in the wash, then it was fine. So let's see if I can play this tune fast at this point. If it's terrible, I'm really sorry, but I'll show you a little bit of the very fast real version of this tune that I like to play. Ooh, I might have to shake out my hand a little bit before you even attempt this. Wish me luck. So let's give it a try. So you don't have to play this right now. This is just me showing you what the potential is with this tune. Flowery ending at the end. But yeah, so basically that is me going the whole time. And then I was doing also a triplet, which this is like crazy stuff to... So if you want it to sound really crazy, once you get up to a certain point, that's just triplet. Cool. So that is something for the future. I don't know what that bowing technique is called or if it even has a name, but it's really fun. So you can also do some ricochet bowing. I sometimes get into that too. I was kind of getting into it a little bit there. But there's all kinds of different things you can do. So this tune is kind of a lifelong journey. As you can see, I'm still working on it. And I hope you love this tune. I hope you take it on as a challenge and work on it and let me know how it goes. And hopefully we can play this tune together sometime. I would love that. And I will see you in the next video.